apologize. I'm late. I don't have any good excuses other than I had a bag of plants that I had to gather. So we're gonna go over about 20 plants if the wind isn't too bad. Yeah, I got stuck at a what's it called? A minor league football game. Basically, the park that I was at took forever. Uh, took forever to unload. Wow, I'm just getting a thing that says opt in for a chance to get the secret history living in your living in your aquarium. I should know the name of my channel, right, guys? It says now I have access to a trial beta run of, or beta, I should say, run of giving, allowing people to give gifts. But when I click on it, nothing's happening. So I don't know if you guys will have that ability or not, but it looks like they selected me for the program, which is great. So that's cool. Hey, Danikin, right out of the gates, $10. Boy, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. Between all the technical difficulties we've had today, Bob's stream. What up, fish people? Ryan, what's going on up there in Canada? Kyle Thompson, hello. Linda Worth, hello. Angie McGee, good to see you. Adam Shook. Zombie Cat, thank you so much for the $20 to PayPal. Holy cow, I really appreciated that. And to all of you guys, let's go take a look at something. So today, this live stream, we're going to cover a bunch of really cool plants that I found over the last week, and a few that I went and grabbed today that are all aquatic plants. Like, there is a bag of different kinds here, and I tried to get them in their underwater form and their above water form, and all of these are clearly very cold water tolerant in that they're living in the Seattle area, not natively necessarily, but they've been introduced and now they're living here. I know it's gonna get dark, but let's flip this around just so y'all know. I have these little these little packets that you buy and you soak with water and they swell up and then you freeze them. I also have Mylar bags. We have the thermal heated bags that you seal at the top. We've got bags for shrimp and plants. We've got breather bags for fish or shrimp in any number. Actually, I found Aquatic Arts had the best deal, and then their shipping's free right for anything dry. And then I got 15% off with the code for the channel. So they were by far the cheapest without having to buy hundreds of them. But they freeze up those little bags like this. And I know Jason has used these from Redfish Bluefish. But yeah, so between that and the Mylar bags and then a whole giant load of boxes from flat rate boxes, the $16 ones mostly, and then these are 11 by 10, or 11 by 9 mailers that are designed for fish, plants, and reptiles, and then normal bags obviously just for plants. So those of y'all who wanted to get shrimp, Malawa shrimp, and dojo loaches and plants, looks like all the gear is finally here. So I'm happy about that. Although today it was 93 degrees, I believe, 92 degrees or something for the high in Seattle. So I didn't ship anything out today. Not to mention, I've just been run down. My inflammation and rashes and everything are just really bad all over, like these little welts and hives. I don't know if it's from hiking around in the woods and stuff, but they're like in my knee, my legs, all that. And then I really swelled up last night, even like my feet and everything. So Any case, I'm trucking along, but dragging as per the normal standard around here. But I am so glad to be with y'all. And let's see here. Fish Dreams. I wish I got gifted a membership. Lol. Rob. Well, I don't know if anybody can do it. I mean, I can't. I don't know if I can do it. It's not letting me. I don't know if anybody can try it out. If you can buy just one or something and give out a gift. I'm not sure. I don't know how any of it works. Literally, YouTube changes stuff, and they don't tell creators under about, I don't know, I think it's like 100,000. Yeah, I think it's the plaque level. They don't tell you what to do when any new feature comes online. Like the fact that now you can tip videos. Like if you really enjoy a video that someone creates, you can leave a super chat essentially on that video. So yeah. Oh wait, did Adam just gift Angie one? Is that what I just saw? I'm trying to figure out. It doesn't even tell me in the stream like someone's a new member or anything like that. So let's see. Is that what happened, Adam? Mr. Generous? I mean, you're always very generous regardless, so cheers to you if that's what happened or not, but it doesn't tell me anywhere. Dylan's Fish Room, what's up? And hopefully you get some good finds. Yeah, Zithian, hello. Carunculin Works. Zach, again, another person threw down $5 on PayPal. Really appreciate that. We circumvent that 30% surcharge. I mean, Super Trats, love them to death, but I do appreciate that. It means a lot that you took time to do that. Thank you, buddy. And Kelly Joe. Sage, what's up? Stephanie D, hello. Craig, what's up? I see you as well. Who else is hiding in these pockets? It says blank was gifted a membership by blank. Yeah, see, it doesn't tell me that. Like, my chat says nothing. It says absolutely nothing. But that is incredibly awesome, and I highly appreciate that. I am in... let's see here. Yeah, so even when I click on Super Chats, I see Kenny's $10 Super Chat. And then I see, when I go to live chat, it doesn't say anything. And when I go to top chat, let's see if it says anything there. No. Maybe I need to be on a PC or running a third-party software. That would be very odd to me. But regardless, thank you so much for doing that. The gift, and yeah, I guess you have to opt in if you want to become a member. So there's that. But thank you. I appreciate it. I wish I could see what exactly happened. I'll try to figure out what's going on. Yeah, you only see it in live chat. Yeah, see, I'm not seeing it other than people talking about it. Which is weird because I'm the freaking... It's my channel, right, guys? I think. Maybe it's not anymore. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so the other day I found the most beautiful little stream, and I'll be making a video about it once I edit it all. But we got a little dojo loach in here, and he's doing his dojo loachy thing. But we collected some really cool plants, and when you see the photos, if you haven't seen them yet, they're on my Facebook group, and maybe we'll look at them afterwards. I don't know if you have... Yes, I think you do have to be on a computer to receive the free subs, or not free, but rather gifted subs, and you have to also opt in, and then either... I think then it's Adam... oh yeah, Ryan got one too, right on. So Adam, thank you very much. I don't know how many you bought, but boy, thank you, buddy. Yeah, I really appreciate that. So, well, I'll have to investigate. Maybe I have to be on the PC too, but today we're outside because it's also 90 million degrees in the house. And, you know, I love seeing you all here, and it's wonderful that you are. But I kind of wanted to do the first, maybe, let's say 15 minutes, just going through some of the species that I got. There's maybe 15 or 20 of them, and I'm just going to tell you the names. I don't know a ton about them, but I just want to show you some of the stuff that's native to my area. And I am very far north in the United States. So if y'all live in the United States or Canada, if you're in Canada, I know most of you are in southern Canada, within 100 miles of the border, like 80% or more of you. So check out your streams locally. I mean, you'll be amazed at what is in there that's in our trade that costs a lot of money, that you can literally find like 100 yards of it growing in a lake nearby. It's pretty cool. It makes you feel like you hit the jackpot, that's for sure. So I'm going to go over some of that, so that if people who are rewatching this, so that we can get going there. And then we're going to have just open chat, hang out, probably here in my backyard, because like I said, it's I think it's like 97 degrees in the house right now, plus the humidity of the fish room. So let's jump right on in. And Regina, what's going on? How are you, my dear? I was reading this study about logs and how putting logs in rivers ends up making not just the fish happy, but other animals happy. And then I was reading down, and it was like 15 cougars crossed the logs in Grant County and blah blah. Like, it had how many, all the info on how many, every kind of animal. There's 47 mammals and 36 mammals and 11 bird species that use these logs they put across a river in Oregon. And they did this study on it. It was going to be one of the episodes of Fish News, but I thought it was too boring without the footage. And yeah, so they said that 3 deer drowned in a year trying to cross the river on a log. The log was big too. It was like a meter across, 3 feet across or something. Big old growth tree that they just like knocked down and dropped in the middle of this creek river type thing. And then they did a couple other crossings, and they put trail cams on it, and then they kept track of it. But what do I see on tonight's local news, which we literally had 18 people shot in the city of Tacoma over the weekend, which is like a city of 200,000, 300,000 maybe. And that's a lot. It's a lot. So there's that story, and literally the next story, after all the stuff going on with Supreme Court, after those 2 stories, we get, and in other news, Oregon did a year-long study on the life that logs bring to a river. And I was like, oh, maybe it was interesting enough. I don't know. But in any case, so yeah, I got more dojo loaches, as you just saw if you're tuned in here. They're fun to watch when you give them lots of places to hide. There's one like right there, and then they're just little bundles of joy. And right now, we're going to get tonight, it's supposed to go from 92/95 in our area today, depending on where you were, to 65 overnight, well, 55 overnight, and then 65 tomorrow for the high. And so I'm just like, I'm kind of debating putting a time-lapse camera on the loaches when that low pressure front comes through, and changes it back to like rainy, stormy weather. Well, it's not going to rain quite right away, but hey, where'd he go? I don't see either. Oh, there's one. But in any case, gotta love me those loaches, even though they're invasive. I'm going to try to get them all out of that lake. All 27 miles of that lake. I think that will be my goal this summer. But yeah, everybody's joining in. Holy cow, we got lots of members thanks to Adam. I don't know if anybody else did it too, but I really want to thank you if so. And it's extremely frustrating if I cannot tell people thank you for doing so. So I apologize. It's not me being a jerk any more than normal. But thank you, Adam. And anybody else, if anyone else did it. All right, let's go over these plants, because if they live in my area, it means they can live in your area if you're in the US, unless you're in like Alaska or Hawaii or something. Okay, so the first one, which I love, is Persicaria maculosa. Has these two purple spots on the leaf, and it looks like a heart when it gets tall, like when this plant is like a foot, 2 feet tall. But it can grow underwater, and it'll lose its leaves, and then it totally gets a new arrangement of leaves, which looks like... I'll try to put everything side by side if I can. Which looks like... Where'd it go? I'm reaching into this bag too that's like been sitting with mud and bugs and snails and probably like leeches from what I've collected. But here we've got Bacopa that was out on just on the side of... That's Bacopa Caroliniana. And again, I always point this out, but now that we can see it outside clearly, there's hairs on the stem when it's out of the water. It's got a red stem. And then the flowers are like this purplish blue color with a very light baby blue color in the center. And then they open kind of like a mini iris, which is cool. And they can be blue, purple, yellow, or white, but most are blue or purple. And they don't have normal buds. They're an old plant and an aquatic plant. And so they open with two leaves that grow close together. So this would be the next bud here, right where my fingernail is. And you can see the old buds, they fall out quickly. In Kelowna, you would totally be able to have these same plants. You guys have way warmer weather than I do. 32 degrees Fahrenheit in Kelowna today. Or are you talking 32 Celsius? Because all year until the last 2 days, it's been about 12 to 15 Celsius in Seattle. It's been a very cold spring. 32 Celsius? Yeah, no, totally. You guys can grow all of this stuff. Anything I'm showing in here, you guys will be able to grow, and or it is native to you. So Kabamba, not native. Now, you guys probably all know what aquatic Kabamba looks like. We can go look at it in my tanks if you want. It doesn't look that different other than the stem having these hairs, and then obviously the flowers. And also it gets kind of less waxy coating. It actually gets like a soft fuzzy coating. And then you've got Hydrocotyle Ranunculoides. And this one is very similar to Hydrocotyle verticillata. And it's the one that looks like little parasols, and it grows in a chain. So here's one piece. And if you get a chain of it going, it looks like these. And they each put their root down in the mud or dirt, and then they pop up, and these ones get pretty big. Yeah, it's pennywort. Yep. It is a pennywort, and it's specifically a Ranunculoides. It's called floating pennywort, and it's native to North America, unlike the Japanese or Brazilian or Italian. There's lots of pennywort all over the world, but this is one that can withstand freezing, and it can withstand hot weather, and that's why I'm going to be putting it in my ponds and stuff. And then this plant is a very interesting one just because of how beautiful it matted up. Actually, this one's too much of a knot. Let's find one that's not knotted. So this stuff looks like little stars when it's out of the water. When you see it, it kind of looks like a little star. And when it's out of the water, the leaves are needles. Whereas when it's under the water, they're broad, which is the opposite of how most plants work. Like if you remember like water sprite, water wisteria, when those are underwater, they're needly. And it's usually so that the current probably doesn't rip the leaves off. Whereas above water, they're really broad. We can go look at that in a moment in between these plants. But this is just an awesome plant that I found in the river. So there's a good example. You get these little five-pointed stars, and then when it grows underwater, it grows like this. And I don't know why this isn't in our hobby more. And it grows in dense mats. And it's really cool. Angie, are you talking about this stuff or the hydrocotyl that grows? It'll grow anywhere. It'll grow on land, underwater. It'll grow on a bird. I mean, anything. But this stuff is, it's called Callistrichia or Streak, might be German as in streak, Hamulata, and it is a cold weather carpeting plant. And I've got some pictures that are just magical. Some of you guys might have seen them on Facebook already if you're friends with me, but also I took some good video of me finding this stuff, and I'd never seen this in the Northwest. Granted, it's only been 6 or 7 years that I've been hunting around looking for aquatic plants, and another 2 or 3 that it's been intense to the point where I'm like trespassing and hopping fences if I'm up to it that day, depending on my decrepit body. But these are like, I mean, I thought it was almost like baby tears, or I almost thought it was maybe not water sprite, but the pearlweed. It looked very similar to pearlweed. So it's kind of interesting. What are you doing, little dude? These dojo loaches, they want more than 2 or 3 friends. They want like 30 friends. And when you get them in a group, they are so funny. They all sleep together in a pile, and they're just cute. I love them. It's a bummer that they're invasive, but I love them. Wow, so man, again, thanks to all the gifted out memberships. Nano Aquarium Guy, what's up? Zen Ginger, I saw you. Jeff Kane, hello. All pennywort is aquatic, or at least can withstand several months of the roots being flooded, if not the whole plant. Yeah, a few of you have forgotten the like button, Gingy says. Get that. How would I opt in for a membership? It says, do you want to accept gifts if you're on a computer, I think. Maybe, I'm not sure if it's on iPhone, but definitely on Android, you got to get onto something else other than just your Android phone. And then you can say, I will opt in for gifts. And if anybody buys memberships, then what it does is it signs y'all up. So when you guys go to the community tab, and what it does is it randomly, not randomly, it selects who's going to get memberships. So say I buy 10 memberships to give out. The algorithm then sees who watches the live streams, the channel the most that's in chat, and gives them out. So 1, it's incentive to watch, but 2, then you get all the perks for a month of the channel. And yeah, I don't know, it's pretty cool. Although it doesn't tell you when you expire your membership, because I've had it happen on Aquarium Co-op. I got gifted one, and yeah. So in any case, Pennsylvania Fish Preacher, what's going on? I hope you're doing well. Android, it appears as a button in chat. Okay, thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't on my phone. I had to go onto a PC, but maybe I just have too old of a phone that I was on or something too. I don't know. Like I said, I never know how the YouTube stuff works because they don't tell us. Like, they'll make announcements in the news and they'll talk to subscribers, or I mean to creators with like 100,000 to 1 million, and in that order, like the million and then the whatever. They roll things out, and in our hobby, Aquarium Co-op and Bob Steamfought and I seem to get the what do you call it? when they're altering things and they're going to allow some new function, they know that our channels have really good engagement for our sizes. So I think even though like Bob and I are way smaller than Aquarium Co-op, you guys are awesome. You guys are just incredible viewers and subscribers, and you watch a lot of the content. And so we get to unlock a lot of the cool features that don't get unlocked for all the channels until weeks, months, sometimes never. Sometimes they just want feedback. But it is a new thing. Yeah, Zen Ginger, I listen to her because I think, yeah, she knows all. Fish streams, what's up? All right, back to the plants. So thought these were really pretty, and when you look at them you're gonna be like, wow, that's really cool. So I found some private property where these are growing completely dense. I mean dense like this is dense, underwater in very quick water. And there were golden brook trout, like this color, like yellow color, that were in the water, and they had like beautiful brown and red and green spots on them. And I just, man, I want to get a hold of one of those trout so bad. I just need to get permission to fish on his part of the creek because there's literally no bank to stand on. But I just want to get one and take a picture and note what they are, because they've been extinct in that creek for a long time. In the last 7 or 8 years they've been coming back. Hey, Mr. Loach, what are you doing at the surface? I saw that. He's breathing air. Oh, okay. Yes. Zen Ginger says, and you have to allow, say that you want a free gift, aka membership. You're accepting free gifts. The chat should prompt you. And if it doesn't on your mobile device, you might need to go to a computer. But if you opted in, then you can receive when anybody buys, and so it's very kind of them, when anybody buys free memberships for people, their money is paying for it. So it's an incredibly kind gesture that Adam did there, so thank you. I'll have to figure out how I can do that too, because I've been wanting to give some memberships to folks for a long time that are just always here, and I just, want to get you guys unlocked content. But if you did just get a membership, go to the community tab and check out all the cool stuff that's there, including all the episodes of Fishery up to episode 101, which just came out yesterday. So they're 3 to 20-minute videos. No, they're like 3 to 10-minute videos about the most recent news in the hobby, history, science. So another thing is, in this green water over here, you might be able to see that there's dots moving. Well, normally they're not so active, but I think it's the pressure change. And I want to show you the color before the sunlight's completely gone. So we're going to switch gears real quick because I caught some more local fish. And it looks like nothing would survive in this non-aerated green water temple of doom. But that's not the case. In fact, here we go. Hey, buddy, calm down. In fact, they're doing really well in here. The sticklebacks, which Dr. Anthony wants, they're doing really well. I posted a picture of a male spawning stickleback. This is a female. And let's see if we can get her visible for us. But these are from a collection point that I found last year with Lawrence Kent. Of course, Lawrence had to be involved. But because of all the anthocyanins in this water, in this super green water, the algae and all the little critters, they're bright blue. They're a bright blue and green color in here. Metallic, bright green and blue. And they're just freaking beautiful fish. This one has armor on her head. And she has 2 spikes. Some of them don't. Some of them aren't blue or green. But these, depending on the angle you get the light on, I mean, sometimes they look like a 67 Mustang, you know, blue. But it's because of all this green water. There's Daphnia and all sorts of little critters living in this green water, and moss. And, you know, I thought maybe it was going to be too intense, but none of these fish in this pond require oxygen levels in the tank to be particularly special. And again, we've been growing out some bullfrog tadpoles just for curiosity's sake. These ones were from a lake with no plants in it, really. Locally, it was just like a cement drainage pond. And they're growing little legs in there. But these ones are speckled and white and brown. And then there's other ones in here that are neon yellow and green with dark green as the background. And I just find that kind of interesting that they're so different. Now here's another stickleback without the tiger stripe pattern, but it's still blue and green because of its diet, which has been rich in anthocyanins. And that also translates to, see her this is a little male here, which also translates to blood red chins, just glowing red chins when they're in spawning condition. And, whoop, sorry, almost fell over. So it's pretty interesting. And in here we've got lots of plants for them. There's no substrate, which is against my religion, essentially. Here's one of the striped sticklebacks. Where did he go? But I also saw some sunfish in here. I was going to show you guys the pumpkin seed fish. Is this the other? That is the... Nope, that's the speckled tadpoles. Oh, here we go. He's hopping like a frog almost. And here we also have plants. And the plants in here... So check out the different pattern on this guy. So he's got a very... Let me get a better shot. He's got a very clear, big old blotchy pattern rather than those little speckles. And he's bright yellow and green, depending on the light. It's kind of a metallic thing. But he's like mottled, and he's from a lake that's full of vegetation. So I'm kind of curious to see if as adults they have different patterns too. Whereas that other one had just straight up freckles all over and very earth tone-y. So let's see here. Oh, here we go. And here we have a little rock bass. And these are from the little pond right near my house, like not even a block away. And they're gorgeous when they're first caught. And what's cool is I've found that the green water is all it takes to color them back up. So they were losing their color every time I'd catch them from stress. And I couldn't figure out in my tanks last year how to get them to color back up. Let's get some of this other stuff out of the way. But these guys have a lot of spines. And these guys are really cool. Let's get a good view. Yeah, and I've got some photos of these too, but their iridescent blue is just like blinding. It's so pretty on these guys. And they've got some real sharp spines on their back. But these are rock bass. And rock bass, when you look at them online, they're pretty boring. They have the markings that you see here, the dots and stripes when they're young. But these ones, they come from a bog with alkaline water. And that's the water I put in here. And because of that, with all the moss and the anthocyanins, they have a very unique color that I've never found anywhere else outside of that to that intensity. So we've got other fish in other bins right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean out, I think. Like, these bins are looking real gross. So I feel like even though the ammonia is 0, I'm going to leave all the plants, debris, and stone and wood and stuff that's in these in them. But I'm going to drain the water like 80 or 90% and give them fresh water. And we actually even have plants from last year that are native too. And you can see they survived the winter. These things froze super solid. The Potamogeton gayi is blood red and bronze in here, which it's got algae on it, but it's a really cool look that I can't get inside. So it must be just the natural sunlight does that. Then we've got Ludwigia rubra, Ludwigia palustris in here. We'll go look at those in a moment too. But yeah, I mean, I just take a little stick and fish around in here, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, look at that. A bunch of things from last year, including this local moss that I wasn't sure if it was aquatic. Well, it looks like it's aquatic. So, don't know what moss it is. I guess I'll have to flower it, or rather spore it to find out. And then here was another one that I was going to have on our list today. So here's what it looks like underwater, and this one is strictly underwater. This is Elodia, and it's a specific type of Elodia that is a native to the Pacific Northwest and California, Idaho, Utah, and a few other spots. But it's kind of interesting. Also, these fruits, you know, I was worried about these when we first moved into the house, that they would do something to the water. But they don't seem to do anything other than add anthocyanins and other things to the water. Now, this has definitely green water, probably algae growing on it, but this is a different collection point of moss that's clearly doing fine aquatically too. So all the tubs have different plants from, like, each tub I've marked off on a notepad inside where the water or where the plants came from and what it was like in its natural setting. And then if I threw in any domestic plants like this Ludwigia here, I also made note of that. Now, it seems like most of the critters that were surviving in the tubs that I use as, you know, isopods and copepods and all sorts of little things like that, the microcrustaceans and stuff, they don't seem to be around right now. So I'm pretty positive that some of the larger critters that eat that are what's around and have been eating it. Anyways, so if the ADA hydrocotyle verticillata is too expensive for you, this won't stay as small, but I bet under highlight in a tank with CO2 it would. I'm going to try it out. We're going to find out. Then we've got the Bacopa Caroliniana. Then we've got the this stuff dries out so quickly. I'm very concerned that if I were to ship it, it would just die unless it's completely underwater, I think, because literally this has been here a few minutes. The sun's not on it, and it's just the heat. I mean, it is hot, but just the heat has done that. So this one was the Calistreich, spelled like Reich, like Third Reich, Hamulata, and that's what this whole jar is. And I'll show you guys the picture when we go inside. Let's get through the rest of these. Alex, you need to stop waffling on. So then this is Persicaria maculosa, the one that has purple hearts right here on the leaf when it's at its healthy peak. So we're going to put all this stuff back in the jar just so it doesn't dry out. Back into the jar you go. In the jar you go. Then we've got Creepin' Jenny. Good old creepy Jenny. Underwater you get these big old leaves like such, whereas above the water you get, I mean, they're pretty similar, they're just smaller and waxier above the water. Underwater they're not waxy on this plant, but they are rounder. They're almost perfectly round. Compared to up here, they do have a spade point when they're coming up out of the water immersed. And I took video and pictures of all this, so if you guys are interested in this stuff, definitely check out the next video that's coming. It'll probably be the next video. So then we've got Ludwigia Rubin or Repens Rubin. This is where the super reds come from, and this is above water growth right here. But this is your subtropical, the stuff that's in the hobby. You put horsetails in your aquarium and they died. They do grow along the edge of rivers. They do need a lot of water in their roots and in their actual, I mean, they're a great source of water on their own, in their own right. But no, they're not an aquatic plant at all, unfortunately. I know I've played with them too. Even things like buttercups and clover, none of those are technically aquatic plants. Some of them may survive a while in there. Like here's a totally above water. This is just growing. Well, what am I doing? I'm a big dummy. The creeping Jenny literally got out of my tub last year, and from the fall to the summer this year, it has taken over the beauty bark. So it's great for removing nitrates and stuff, but this stuff is ruthless. It looks great. I mean, I actually like it, so it's better than dandelions or Himalayan blackberries that were growing here over and over. But it's just kind of interesting how crazy it has taken over. This is a ruthless little plant. All right. I love you, Bacopa. You're pretty. Yeah, exactly, Technoala. The free memberships are kind of like that. Like, your first bag is free, and you're going to come back. I know it no matter what. All right. So that Persicaria, man, this stuff smells skunky. It smells very much like herb, if you guys know what I'm talking about. This stuff is Persicaria maculata underwater. It retains a very rigid shape underwater, which is interesting. The top crown is pretty limp and wobbly, but I find that interesting that, like, this is the comparison. You get more color and nodes above water. But underwater, and there's no chance of the purple heart on the center of the leaves, and they get more narrow the more light it gets, but the bottom of the stems are always low light. But this one, Persicaria maculosa, yeah, maculosa, not Lata, sorry guys, maculosa is great. It is one that holds up really well immersed. Underwater, it's hit or miss. In your aquarium, it likes to melt. I think it's the temperature. In my ponds, it did okay. In my aquariums, not so much. Then we've got Ludwigia. Come on here. We've got Ludwigia. Which one is this? I have to look. It's got spade-shaped things. Is this fully underwater or no? Wait, yes, this is fully underwater. And look at how little the underwater are. So you know how Ludwigia arcuata has like those needle leaves? This species does kind of the same thing. This has probably been up and out of the water over time. Hey Jordan, welcome. Tri-City Aquatics, hello also. And you get really red leaves on this too in the right sunlight. But this tends to grow in shadier spots. Underwater, it's super red. It's the opposite. It's what? It's 8:30 here, 8:30 p.m. or something like that, almost 9. And the sun will be up in Seattle until 9:45 or so. I mean, like, the sky will be light. And then by 3:45 a.m., the sun will also be back. So we only get, I mean, we're right here at the solstice, like calendar-wise. So the sun will only be gone 6 hours during our solstice. Whereas during our winter solstice, we only get 7 hours of daylight. It's pretty brutal. People don't really realize how far north Seattle is. Oh, here we go. So this is the Ludwigia above water, and this is the one that has the name Reuben. See the difference? When it's underwater, naturally, you can see why they got the idea to make super red out of Repens and Reuben. It's very waxy and spear-shaped. Underwater, it's much more loosey-goosey and longer leaves. And that actually culminates in when it's deep underwater or not at all getting dried out. That's when you get these longer spear leaves. But I do want to show you guys, when you are collecting wild plants, there is a fungal or bacterial rot. Those aren't water droplets, death or rot of some sort, but that won't be going in the tank. And see again the little needle leaves. The Ludwigias are known for that. All right, what's next in my bag of tricks? So here we have hydrocotyl, or hygrophila rather, polysperma. This is growing on land. And hey, good morning from the Balkans. What's going on? And yeah, so this is a cool one in that underwater it's beautiful. Above water it's not much to look at. You can walk right by it, and if you don't look closely, you don't see that it's variegated. I mean, it just kind of crumples itself up. And yeah, it doesn't grow in deep water. And let's see here. Here's an aquatic version of that same plant. So here we've got the above ground versus the aquatic. You can see how pretty that turns underwater. And this is illegal in a lot of states, which is a bummer because it's not that invasive. It does take over quickly, but I can think of about 50 plants that are worse that are still legal, you know. Like Hygrophila coriambosa is way worse, in my opinion. And then here's another Ludwigia. This is Ludwigia palustris. And underwater, it has longer leaves that are red at the tip rather than at the base. And the underside of the leaves isn't really any more red or anything than the top side. They're kind of even, and they look like a rosebud at the top. So this is Ludwigia, what did I just say? Palustris. Ludwigia palustris. And the other one was Ludwigia Rubin, or Reppens Rubin. This one here. And you could see how red it looks when it's the underwater form, or the above water form rather. It's like purple. That's where they got the idea to select for redder and redder. In here, we don't have a ton more species, don't worry. I just have a lot of duplicates. So this is one that a lot of people have probably seen if you've gone to local ponds. It looks like parrot's feather. This is what a lot of people call milfoil, but what it really is matin grossen, which is what all milfoil are. And this one is, do I have it written down? Did I even write it down? I forget the, I think I forgot the, yeah, I did. Oh well. Yeah, I forgot the name of this thing in Latin, but it's a myriaphyllum nonetheless, and nevertheless, and there are a lot of myriaphyllums. This is the Asian one, milfoil. It's not the Eurasian one, it's the Asian one. But this you'll find everywhere. It can be red, it can be pink. It gets stuck in boat motors and then gets carried to new lakes all the time. It's a friggin' pain in the butt. Everyone hates it. It's invasive. What's the difference between Creeping Jenny and Creeping Charlie? Creeping Charlie is not nearly as prolific and does not survive underwater as well. Although it will survive for a while. Although it's not considered an aquatic plant like Creeping Jenny is. Creeping Jenny is actually an aquatic plant. So then we have another local favorite of mine that I wish was in the trade more, because underwater it always starts, yes, and Creeping Charlie does have more crinkled leaves that are less round, like less perfectly round. So here we have this kind of cool plant that's got a bright fuchsia or red base, and then it's also got variegation of red on a lot of the leaves. And this one is called Lithium portula, and it is a Pacific Northwest native. which is kind of interesting. I've got more of it. Ugh. I gathered this last year, and it grows out of the water, very similar to this. But underwater, it will grow like this, and it'll grow like this in low light. So I kind of want to do some more experimenting with it. It is kind of pungent. It has kind of a clove oil smell, I suppose. And yeah. And what else? Do we have any last words out of the bag? Well, we've got more Ludwigia. This is more, I scored big time this year. There's a park where there's Ludwigia palustris and Ludwigia repens growing. And this is the repens. So this is the third kind. That's a hygrophil. I don't want to confuse people. But here we've got one of the super red. That's not actually super red, but it's the species that we know in the hobby. This is where super red came from, was selecting from this. And then it's above water form again, where you get why it's called super red, is the stem is super red. And so they took it and they kept spawning it, or whatever. Not spawning, I'm so stuck in fish in my head. They kept crossing it pollination wise, flowering it, and getting these super saturated reds to go all the way into the leaf underwater, which wasn't a long process because they were around in the 1940s. So they were in aquatic gardens in late 1800s to the 1940s. They figured it out and selected for it. Right here we've got the Ludwigia palustris, and then we've got the Ludwigia repens, which again, there is a super red variety of this. That's why super red is not a good term. There's also a super red rotala. But yeah, so those are the main ones I gathered. Let's see, do we have any other standout specimens? I'm trying to see. Just more Ludwigia. It's very hard to tell the Ludwigias apart. It really is. It makes it a headache, because those are three types. Really, you need to see the flower to know 100% sure, because sometimes just growing in a certain light can do it. But the general trend is that the leaves get narrower when they're underwater. They get less waxy. When they come above water, they need like a waxy, thicker coating. There's snail eggs on the bottom of that. And then, and these are all out of the local lakes in Seattle here, or streams. But what I wanted to show you guys, is there anything else in here other than new? Just some little odds and ends here that I'll keep the roots soaked so they don't all die immediately. But I really like this stuff. This is going to be my favorite, and I'll show you guys why when I show you guys the pictures. It's just beautiful. This stuff grows super dense too, and it was flowering, and that's how I was able to for sure figure out that this one is the where am I? See my real good notes here. Yeah, right here. This is Ipildrabium ciliatium. Don't put a D and a B an L, a D, B next to each other. Jeez. But this one was really pretty, and I'll show you guys some pictures. There's pictures up on my Facebook if you guys are friends. And I'll put them in the community page for YouTube also, or for Facebook rather, for the community page, Secret History Living in Your Aquarium, just so y'all can take a look. And I'll go put this in the pond before I show you how beautiful this stuff looked in the wild. We'll just throw it in the froggy rock bass or rock perch, whatever, pile. And I just have dojo loaches just in every container that I own anywhere on the property, basically. So let's take a look. And does anybody have any questions? We doing okay? How's everybody feeling? Earth inspired. And I'm going to wash my hands because I don't want to bring any of the issues that those things may have had, be it leeches, be it cyanobacteria, be it harmful algae. There's lots of things that can transfer, unfortunately. And so when you're digging in the local lake, especially if it's like filled with goose poop and it's not some pristine creek or lake, you want to be a little careful. I usually use citronella and lemon oil. Like my wife buys it just as dish soap, like an organic earth blend. What's it called? What is it? 7th generation. So it's like citrus and citronella, and so that usually does a pretty good job. I've never had any contamination issues using it, but I do rinse my hands pretty thoroughly because I worry that could be a little harsh on slime coats or maybe even the pH. I don't know. Just total guessing. So I just figured I'd show you guys some of the indoor stuff too. The sundews are starting to do okay, and the moss that's living in here. This was a bowl that got overtaken. These are rotalas that are just stunted like crazy. These rotalas are just stunted beyond belief in here. And the Ludwigia is coming up again. Here's one. Here's another one. And you can see that the tell a lot of times, if you're trying to figure it out when it's immersed, is that it's pointy, oval spade leaves. If you already know, if you've got a rough idea and you're trying to sort it out, that's kind of the tell. And then for the Hygrophila that I never showed you guys an aquatic version or a immersed version of, here that is. And it is, if you look at it, it is still variegated, but it really dries out unless it's right near the water. It almost looks like sage or rosemary, rosemary, not sage. Almost looks like rosemary when you walk by it on like a trail or something. And that's only if it's like right on the water. Also, water wisteria, or yeah, we'll just call it water wisteria. Hygrophila deformis. It looks like this when you're on a hiking trail. It's very common in the Pacific Northwest also from gardens. And it looks like almost like a poppy or something, or ragweed or knotweed or something. And then underwater, it gets wild and crazy, and it comes to the top like this and just spreads out. But underwater, it also does the kind of classic spreading plant thing. Where did it go? This. Here it is. It's just bent. Yeah, these leaves are like this. So, yeah. And the pencil fish are mad. And they're in with all the German Sawassertang, all the light-colored Sawassertang. Or Pellia, as it was first called when I got it. It's that old. But then again, here's one that even underwater, sometimes Hygrophila polysperma gets a little ratty. It really just depends what its competition is. Like, oh, and then Bacopa Monieri, this is it underwater. If you guys hadn't seen it, this is highlight, so it's going to be tighter and a more pink and red. Let me wash my lens a little bit. I think the humidity's on it. And then we've got the Hydrocaudal tripartita. So this was the small hydrocaudal that I showed at the beginning, which this is actually from a tissue culture, but the stuff I have out there in the bag was literally from a trail outside, and I paid $20 for this back when I bought it. So I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I hadn't done that. My Aka's looking nice when it gets towards the top too. Very bushy. Alex, is it bad to use a bucket of dechlorinated tap water that has been sitting out for a couple days? It seems to develop a film on the surface. That's probably just dust, but no, it's not usually bad. I'd check the pH maybe if you're curious about it, just for fun. See if it swings at all. See if your water's buffered. And here's the Ludwigia super red underwater where it's the way it should be when it's just, real red. I haven't been putting iron in this water though. Here's another Ludwigia. This is the mini leaf arcuata. So you can see how needly leafed it can get. But remember, above water, it turns into little spades. Little spades. Now, glandulosa and repens, though, do stay fairly spadey. They get long, but at the crest, right at the top, you can always kind of cheat and tell that those oval leaves with the spade point, that they're, hey, get off of my Aponogeton. I'm waiting for this Aponogeton to send up another baby, but it just is not doing so. And then this is Ludwigia ex lacustris, this beautiful plant here, which is a natural hybrid from the East Coast, just to show you. And speaking of the East Coast, then Kabamba is also a wild American variant. And then I've got, which some folks are buying from me, I've got the rainbow or fire, the Furcata Kabamba from Patagonia and the Pantanal. And then I've also got, and it's just beautiful down here. It's just so red and bushy. And then I've got the purple metallic also, which are just different variations. See the purple metallic color on it. Yeah. So, let me show you some pictures. We'll get to full questions after that. Also, this tank has no CO2, just to compare real quick while I'm thinking about it. So the Hydrocaudal tripartita, it grows into little mini clover leaf looking things. Whereas the Hydrocaudal verticillata stays like that. And the Hydrocaudal raminusa, or however we pronounced it, I forgot, I left my little cheek pad outside. It stays into 3 lobes, kind of like these ones here. Like you'll see that there's 3 leaves, but they stay as one little pennywort type clump. And then when we saw, and this is what, here we go. Here's the natural look, probably in lower light, of the metallic purple. It's going to be a very subtle lavender purple. And again, here is the Kabamba Furcata growing right now. It is very, very bright stuff, regardless of CO2 or not. CO2 helps, but really light is the main thing on it. And then we've got Kabamba Pantanal instead of Furcata, which is another variant that's lime colored. And then the purple metallic rather than just the soft lavender you saw. That's from the other South American, whereas the American purple metallic over here, I just grew them together to show you guys, basically, and put in a stem over here that I just uprooted. But it's okay, because this one's so wonky, because it's been growing upside down and then right side up. But you can easily mistake one of the leaves for, oh, that's going to be the rainbow fire-colored one. It's got Furcata. And then you flip it over, and then the other side of the plant has purple and dark green. So you're like, what's going on? So really flowering it is the big difference. You get yellow and purple flowers and white flowers depending on the species. So yeah, they're fun plants though. I forgot to get any azolla, which I was going to gather because that's another Northwest native that's pretty fun and usually in the hobby as well. I was trying to think if there are any other Pacific Northwest natives in my tanks. I don't think at the moment. I think that's it as far as like actually are from the Northwest and the Western United States. I do have one more fun one that's immersed, and then there's more creeping Jenny coming out of my um, the pack a bowl contest that we did um, for fish bowls and small containers, where we've got the 5 white cloud or meteor minnows. They're actually the Vietnamese meteor minnow variety. And then here we've got papyrus, and this is the smallest papyrus species out of Egypt. And it looks like it's doing well. It looks like it's putting up another shoot too. And the rotala is growing immersed now out of here too. So the little setup that only has 2 shrimps and a snail in it, which is hardly anything life-wise, is, it's doing its thing. The papyrus is draining the nitrites, whereas this big one, those little minnows, they need a lot of food and they'll eat algae, they'll eat copepods and baby shrimp and all that stuff that I put in there, but they also need supplemental food with some vitamins and stuff. So I feed them the aquarium co-op fry food once every other day to just kind of keep their color and stuff nice. But all the moss died without the humidity of the other room, so that's kind of a bummer. But let's see if I can pull this up. I wanted to show you guys the pictures of where I got those plants. They're just beautiful. And if this doesn't work, then we will definitely do in the video I make, I'll definitely make sure that it's covered well. Oh yeah, that's where I got it from, that castle in frickin' whereversville, probably Germany or Austria or something. Again, Adam, thank you so very much for this laptop. It is getting me through, that is for sure. Oh no, why did it sign me out? Hold on. Look at my face as I try to solve the riddles as old as time. Best be the password. I haven't had to log into any of this stuff in a long time. Very interesting question, Earth Inspired. What are your honest thoughts about cleaning plants that come from the wild? What about losing the biodiversity when you dip them? So what I'm going to say about that is, if you are starting from scratch, if you are setting up a tank, then sure, don't bother. Now, if you have a tank like either one of mine that has all sorts of plants and you know they're doing well, none of them have fungus or mites or anything like that, then you might want to reconsider just adding them. And there can be all sorts of stuff on plants. I know that there's people like, Father Fish and stuff that's very pro putting whatever you find outside in the tank. And I think that can make a cool community. But you also have to remember that some things are tropical, some things are temperate, some things are subtropical, and that those different environments have different pests, out in the lake, there may be something that eats the mites, that eats the thing that eats the mites, and that's fish food, and so it may work really well. Like if you're in a warm water area, then you can do it. But my suggestion with collecting plants from local lakes and ponds and things would be either start the tank, make sure it's healthy and you're doing a biotope or something, you don't need to heat it, or don't do it without cleaning them somehow, even if that's just like quarantine, like stick them in a bucket for 2 weeks and making sure they seem to be doing okay. That's what I would probably say, if I'm not gonna, I don't want to lead anyone astray. All right. So the same sticklebacks that you guys were seeing, they are absolutely beautiful. These red with blue eyes, and there's the ones that we were seeing. But here's the big old Big Daddy with the stripes for a swamp. And Mr. Coolie Loach, Mr. Baby Smallmouth Bass. This was where I got that stuff in the jar that I said was so beautiful. And man, this guy's yard, this is where I also saw the brook trout. We're literally in the shade of this bridge. And yeah, just great stuff. You can see when I catch a fish out of there, there's the same kind that you saw, the perch, the rock perch, or rock bass, sometimes they're called. They've got yellow fins right here, green fins up here, and then they've got these stripes, especially when they're young. But they get more spaced out as they get older, or they go to just dots. Let's see, can we tilt this better so that it's... yeah, there we go. That's probably truer to the color. It might be not true to the shape. But look at all the algae and cyanobacteria and snails. I mean, there's so many invasive snails in any given urban area. Again, that's just for size. Little bass, they have a little yellow tail. And then, speaking of little bass, I also have a big bass. So there's over a 20-inch long adult full-grown sunfish there. And it is the sunfish's nest, and the bass is eating something in its mouth right by my cursor. So yeah. Then we have more sunfish. I'm gonna try to go back and collect these guys because they're close enough. There's this log I can walk out onto if I have my balance, and it's just beautiful to look at their nests. I want to do a whole project just looking at their nests because a lot of times they'll also take, you know, Doritos bags, tin foil, plastic, cellophane from cigarette packages, Bic lighters. I mean, all the worst trash that you could think of. And they'll decorate this rim in between the rocks. And look at this is muddy silt, and this is algae that's really thick. And they've cleared the bluegills and the pumpkin seed fish. This is pumpkin seed. Clear it. And they have markings almost identical to a discus in the colors. I was just trying to show off some of the subtle colors that are in there. Just beautiful in those little fish. Okay, so here's that creek up close. And this was that plant that I said had the 5 points and looked like very thin-leafed underwater or above water, and then underwater it was not. And I just thought that was so tranquil. It looks like this when I took a picture of the mat. This is probably 6 inches by 4 inches or something like that in real size. Back to baby. Mount Rainier was shining the day I was collecting. Here's Lake Washington. That's our big old mountain. That's the only other mountain top near it. And for like 150 miles plus, there's no other mountains. It stands out on its own. It has the only thing with more prominence is Mount Kilimanjaro. It's even ahead of Mount Fuji, I believe. I think that's the order. Kilimanjaro, Rainier, and then Fuji. But here again, here's that stuff up close that was making those big old clumps in the river. And this is that northwest species. I'll read it off again in a moment. But this is not the same plant here. But here is, and then as it goes underwater, it starts to look like more like pearlweed or something. Very, very cool. Yeah, I'm surrounded by mountains too. To the south of us, though, oh yeah, so here is another picture. You can see my dumb head here. But there's all these beautiful ferns and broadleaf plants and horsetails and clover, nitrifying plants in here. And then underwater by about 6 inches, there's these giant mats of this stuff. And this is Elodia growing here, Elodia growing here. And these freeze. And yeah, this water in this creek is about 50 degrees right now because it's all snow melt and runoff from the soil. But man, I was just blown away by this being a stream in Seattle, in the city, Our alpine streams kind of look like this, and here's the root ball of it. I thought it would be on rocks or something. Nope, it was just growing out of the soil. And of course, there's freaking duckweed in their creek. Why wouldn't there be? And then again, this is the Ludwigia. Um, um, I always want to say, yeah, Persicaria. No, that's wrong. Why do I always say it wrong? Ludwigia palustris. Sorry, guys. And then there's the Persicaria maculosa. Those two, I get them mixed up for some reason. But you can see a nice layering of it. And then there's Cypress helferi or helfri here. And then there's cattails and some other very tall grass that I don't know the name of. And I'll have to find out. Again, this is the pond where I got the dojo loaches from. That's me hiding. Oh, and then this is one of those pretty beautiful little rock perches when they're older. I tried out my fly rod last week, and this has some sand on it from the fight in the water. But he got let go, and he was totally fine. I was using a fishing lure that looks like a yellow jacket. I read online that that was a popular thing. Is that the cowardly lion from Wizard of Oz? You see it? His mane, eye, nose, mouth. Anybody see the cowardly lion in there? Anyways, these guys, the way to tell them apart is that red eye. As they get older, they get a red or orange eye, and only warmouths are the only other little sunfish like that in our area that have red eyes. That was Peter Cottontail hopping down the bunny trail. And this is a different lake. This is at the end of my street. Different plants, different water lilies even, and not cattails. This is something invasive. I don't know what it is. It looks very Floridian. And same with the ferns down here. So people along these lakes do tend to plant weird stuff. Okay, so here is that beautiful plant with the red bottom outside. When it's in a dense mat, it looks so cool. It's got the red stems, and this is the Lithia genus, which I had never encountered until this year. Then we got lots of frogbit and duckweed and Mr. Turtle. Now, I thought this was a Pacific Northwest pond turtle. That's what's usually there, but it may not be with this yellow stripe. I'll have to double check on what that means it is. And again, Daddy with his baby sunfish, and that creek where I'm going to go trespass and go inspect again. I knocked on his door twice, but he literally was listening to the radio and humming, "We are family, check out all my sisters and me." And he was singing to it like audibly loud enough that he probably knew I heard him. But when I knocked on the door, he just stood still in the other room that had fogged glass, and he didn't answer it ever. I was like, "Come on, I just want to know if I can take a sample out of your creek." So instead of going into his yard again, I hiked all the way down and around this other way and just got all cut up. All right, do we have any last requests? I guess this took up more time than I thought it was going to. We are family. Check out all my sisters and me. I don't answer the door for LRB. Let's see here. Holy cow, the heat, even though it's the sun is gone. Look at everything's just fried that quick. Everything's just, look at the Elodia, it's just donezo. Make sure everybody's stems are in the pot. In the pot you go. But if you want to reference my list later, here's what we went over that I collected. And the Bacopa was the Caroliniana. And then hydrocaudal tripartita, and the hydrocaudal, where was the other hydrocaudal? Oh, right there, right next to it, because I'm an idiot. Ranunculoides. So there's my crappy handwriting. Oh, you just want a song? You just want a song, huh? Members of the channel want a song. Well, since you're members and all. Let's see here. Do we have any requests? Because all I can think of is songs that'll get me in trouble. Like Love Me I'm a Liberal by Phil Oakes. That song is epic. If you're a liberal and very liberal, then it's epic. If you're conservative and hate liberals, it's epic. If you are a moderate liberal, you're probably going to hate that song. Great song from the 50s, maybe from the 60s. I think it's 1958. Anyways, how about who knows how long I've loved you? You know I always will. Will I wait a lonely lifetime? If you want me to, I will. And if I ever saw her, I didn't catch her name. So sing it loud so I can hear you. Sing it song so I can... Oh, wait. Sing it proud so I can... For the things you do endear me to... Man, I'm losing my pitch now because I forgot the lyrics. Messed that one up. Endear me to you. Forever and ever we'll be together. Forever and ever we'll part. Never forever. And even when we're still together, I'll love you when we're apart. Yeah, my pitch is gone. My mind's somewhere else. We better go back with what was on my mind in the first verse, which would be early in the morning, I rise into the street, light me up that caudal fin, and I'll put strap shoes on my feet. Got to find a reason things went wrong. I got to find a reason while my money's all gone. It's fish. I got a Dalmatian cichlid, so I can still get high off the joys of keeping fish. I can play the guitar like a mother-loving school of fish, having lots of fun and eating. Do 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 ba do 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 do. Well, life is so short, so love for one you got, 'cause you might get run over or you might get ick. Never had to battle, I just get it off my chest. I never had to battle with that bulletproof vest. Take a small example, take a for me. Take your love, your money, give it all to me. Life is, love is what I got, and some fish. So remember that love is what I got, and some fish. All right, there's my spur of the moment song. Everyone put me on point. I don't have a garage, but I do have a creepy shed that is 5 feet by 8 feet. It will not be a fish room. Not to mention my wife would murder me. But that's the fish room. And fish tub central, which, like I said, I think I'm going to reset it. And I just got a pressure washer that apparently fell over today in the wind. But I just cleaned all of this the other day so that she couldn't get mad at me, because it had like a different color. Like, I don't know if it was from just like lint and stuff from where the dryer vents below and then like that, or if it was from mold or what, but it wasn't a good look. Oh, Zen. Oh my gosh. My goodness. My gush. Gush. I'm gushing. Anyone try to keep triops with nanofish? I have never done that. I don't know how it would go. But I feel like some of the triop species are big enough that the nanofish aren't going to eat them. I don't know. I'd love to hear how that goes. That's a cool idea. Secret history singing clockwork betta. Wall mount win. Yeah. I have clockwork betta, but like the file, I just haven't ever put it on like, I think it's even on a tapestry. I want to say on the Teespring store. Teespring's awful to navigate. Like, I've got 2 or 3 different Teespring stores because of that you can look around through, and it's just awful. But if you tell me what size you wanted, if I've got art that you like on either somainkdesigns.com or Instagram / Alexander J. Williamson or the Teespring, any of those sources, I've got all that. Plus anything that Lucas Bretz has. I mean, I'd have to ask his permission, but I also have all those files, and he doesn't, oddly enough. Like, he doesn't have any of the vector files. I sent him off for print jobs and stuff, so odd. Singing bass like taxidermy. So I just sang for no reason, thinking that you were talking about that, and I was trying to please you. And now you tell me that you wanted Billy the bass or whatever, and I just sang for everyone's amusement because of you, Carew Julian Works. Great. Amy Lou! Hello, it's good to see you. I'm so glad you are here. And thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And also, you gave me a super chat too? Holy cow. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Anil Rock. Aqua Waifu. Is that how you say that? Like the Japanese thing, waifu? I never noticed. I never knew how to spell it. But I do like that name now that you mentioned it. GRB. Hello. Fish and Shrimp by Rich. For sure. And did anybody else sneak in here at the end that there's Kyle. You've been here, buddy. And there's Looney Lonnie. Check the fish box. Right. I saw you sneak in too. All right. So I think we said hello to everybody. And, if I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Because you know what? Actually, my wife came home from her little girls' night camping. They went camping for the last few days. And she was like, you know that there's a Led Zeppelin song? And, like, in the middle of it, he just moans and yells for, like, a minute and a half. And I was like, yeah, Whole Lot of Love. And she's like, no, it's Ocean Song. And then I was like, oh, all those tears I've cried. But that's Dire Mocker. But I had it mixed up with Ocean Song because I was like, that's the only other song I can think of where he actually, like, improvs, like, for a while. And she's like, no, it's Ocean Song. And I was like, no, it's not. It's Dire Mocker after I figured that much out. And then we listened to it, we're like, no. And then I put on Whole Lot of Love where he just goes, for like a minute and a half. And this is like, 1971 or whatever. I mean, pretty out there stuff back then. I guess Jim Morrison did it too. But, man, that drum solo and then the electric guitar solo when the hook comes back in. Dire Maker is pronounced Jamaica. Okay, is Dutch probably, right? Jamaica. Is it actually like, is that the name for Jamaica in Holland or something. Hence the reggae beat. Never really thought about it. I thought it was about like Dutch fjords or not fjords, like levees and dikes and dams and so forth. Gaelic. Trying to learn the free song All Right Now. Yeah, song by Free. All right now, baby, it's all right now. Yeah, he's got kind of a grit to his voice in some of those lyrics. Yeah, that's a harder one to like get the inflection right. But good for you, man. Good for you. All right, guys. Well, I think everyone's entertainment in me is waning. But I want to thank you all for being here, for checking out the plants I've gathered, and I'm probably going to go into hibernation, take my Benadryl so I stop having swollen arms and everything. You know how bad of looks I get in a t-shirt because of where the rash is? It's like wherever, you know, sweat gets trapped or oils that you touch your hands here is where it happens for me. And I just felt like garbage for a while. And then you go to the store and they're like, so I just have to wear like a snow coat, even though it's 95 degrees. Anyways, thank you guys for accepting me for who I am. And if you don't, thanks for faking it. All right, I hope everybody's doing well, has a wonderful night, and will take care of their fish, their plants. And I'm challenging y'all, go out and find some local plants that are fully underwater. See if you can find some that are half underwater and then some that are on the banks, and figure out like what species are which. Take a picture of it on land, underwater. Plants.net or Plants.net, the app on the App Store is actually pretty good. It's way off sometimes, but if you know what you're doing a little bit, it can really point you in the right direction, especially if you can find flowers. Flowers on a plant will always solve the riddle. All right, guys, there's a Chinese restaurant that does karaoke where I go. I should visit and let's go singing. Sure. Where do you live? Are you out near me somewhere? The song I used to sing all the time, just because like I could be hammered and not have to remember, like lyrics weren't an issue, was some people say a man is made out of mud, a poor man's made out of muscle and blood and skin and bone, a sorrow's a weak and a neck that's strong. You load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter's, don't you call me, 'cause I can go. I owe my soul to the company store. Or, what was the other one? 2 boxcars, midnight train, destination Bangor, Maine. 4 hours of pushing broom, buys a 8 by 12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means, by no means king of the road. I know every engine out on every train, all of the children and all of their names. Every lock, all of the ladies in all of the house, every lock that ain't a lock when no one's around. I sing trailers for sale or rent, room to lend 50 cents. I'm a man of means, by no means king of the Two Life Crew. So many copyrights. They can't copyright my terrible singing, unless you auto-tune it or something. But all right, I gotta knock it off, because clearly I'm not a good singer. I love singing though. Like I'm always singing. I've always got some dumb lyrics in my head that I memorized at 14 years old and don't know why it came to me. Like, and it'll always be like something like MDC if you guys are into punk rock, and it'll be like millions of dead cops, millions of dead cops. All I want to see is million, and like just really inappropriate stuff. It's never like, you know, Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. There's something. Yeah, see, I don't even know that one, but that was my point. I would put a Clockwork beta with you singing recorded on my wall. Oh, I'm up for that challenge, man. I will make that thing a reality. I will figure it out and make it a thing. Check the fish box. Better from me than from your ex. Well, probably. I'll agree with you there. All right, guys, I'm getting out of here. Oh, finally, it's like 85 and not like a million degrees and humid. The humidity's going away finally. It's hotter in the house. But thank you so much, mods, lurkers, super chatters, those of you who stuck around for the whole thing, members, Adam for giving out free memberships, all of y'all who watch and the computer deemed you worthy. We're not worthy. Thank you. You guys rock. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll talk to you later. Much love. Take care.